I want to talk about animations versus physics in Madden, of which one is better, because it's mostly opinion. And me personally, I like the physics based better, but I can also see the argument for animation based. I think my problem with animations though is certain lack of player control. Like for instance, if you're the Rams here and you called a good defensive play where there were two defenders in this area when this wide receiver caught the ball, this second defender cannot stop this animation right here, this catch animation. He can't come from the side and knock this wide receiver over to try and jar the ball loose. As you can see, the game moves him out of the way because he can't interact with this animation. Now, on the flip side, when Madden was more physics-based, and I get this argument a lot, I'll get people say, oh, Madden's always been animation-based. From 13 to 18, Madden still had animations, yes. This player jumping to catch the ball, that's an animation. But the difference is, due to physics, the way he comes down is going to change based on what players are around, where they hit him at. Like, as you can see, the defender is in his way. The defender doesn't just turn around and suck into an animation to tackle him. The defender is getting hit on his back. He's basically landed on his back. And then the second defender is running up into him and basically flipping the receiver's whole body. As you can see, like, closer to the end of this little clip. To me, that's cooler because if I'm this defender, I called the right play to have these two defenders in this area when he caught the ball, which means I should be able to take the second defender and run into him and possibly knock the ball loose. Now, clearly, the ball was coming out before he came down, but it's the fact that he was able to run through the receiver and completely change the receiver's momentum that I like about the more physics-based Maddens. And here's another example of the issues I have with the animation-based gameplay. Now, this is a possession catch animation. Once he hit this animation, there was nothing these two defenders can do to try and jar this ball loose. And there should be, though. Like, this defender coming behind him should have been able to give him a little crack in the back, knock the ball out. No, neither of these two players are going to change each other's trajectory. And that's a problem because imagine if this was like on the goal line or something. This animation could just carry him right into the end zone as if these defenders aren't here. And that's just not how football works. And to me, it sucks as a player because if I have players in that vicinity because of the play I called, they should be able to affect this play. And I'm going to show you an example of some possession catches in the older Maddens that do get affected. Now, here's an example of a possession catch in the older Maddens. This is Madden 18, still being able to be affected no matter what the animation is. And I love this because, again, if this was on the goal line, my defenders are able to push him forward so he doesn't just fall back into the end zone. And that's all because of the play call. If I called a good play where I have defenders in that area, they should be able to affect the play no matter what. He was on his way down. He was about to go down. Now watch how the second defender comes up and knocks the ball loose. The ball gets popped loose and rolls out by the end of this. But due to the physics, it doesn't just pop out like an animation either. It's like it's in his arms being rolled around and whatnot. And if I'm not mistaken, bro, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's possible for the receiver to still catch this in the game. I think like it does a bunch of little catch checks, like little rating checks on his way down to where I think the ball might warp back into his hand. Now the warping, it could be a problem, but it's a video game. You know what I'm saying? But that's what I'm saying. And even if he couldn't, it still appears like he could have caught this. And the ball is popping out in a realistic way. And the defenders around him and all the players around him are affecting where this ball goes, how his animation is playing out. It's not just him falling to the ground no matter how many people are around him. This is a realistic pileup. And this is what I like about physics. Here's another example of a possession catch, basically ignoring anybody around him. He rolls right through the receiver's legs, right? Now, depending on where the game decides this animation is considered down at, this could be a touchdown. And you have two defenders here who should be able to stop his forward progress or even knock the ball loose, and they can't do anything because he's already entered the possession catch animation. And I think that's my biggest problem with modern Madden is the game can't function without animations. Like this tackle right here, okay, the defender that's on the ground, he initiates. So the receiver has the ball in his hand. When the defender on the ground hits him, the ball pops out and starts to fall down. But it's like the game has to calculate for this second defender who they have an animation for the two of these defenders hitting the receiver at the same time. So what it does is the ball stops going down, goes back into the receiver's hands, and then pops up when the second defender basically clotheslines him because that animation needs the ball to go up. And these are like just little problems that I always have. And it's like when you see these animations, you know what's about to happen. And it's good and it's bad. But I think the main reason this exists is because of Ultimate Team. Now I brought up Ultimate Team because if you spent real money to get a good player, right, and they have the double me X Factor, let's say Randy Moss, when you throw in a single coverage, you want this to happen every single time. With real physics, that's not possible. Because in this clip right here from Madden 18, he's making this catch because he's a good receiver. That's the only thing playing into this. There's no X factor. There's nothing. And then he's falling like this because this defender is right here. If this defender was not here, he wouldn't fall like this. Or if this defender was standing in a different way, they would fall in a different way, which may even knock the ball loose. At any time, there are variables in this interaction that could cause this pass to become incomplete. And that's what I like about it. If you had a second defender here and he happens to hit him before he hits the ground, there's a chance the ball pops out. There's a chance it pops out and then one of your defenders can intercept it. But again, because Madden caters to Ultimate Team, when people spend real money, they need definite results. They want their good receiver to catch this ball every single time. And that just wouldn't work. There's no way to guarantee that he'll get the optimal animation he needs to make this catch in the newer Maddens because it's so animation-based. In animation-based Madden, what would happen here is this defender might not even fall over. This defender would probably just stand there, or it would get sucked into an animation where he jumps up and he misses the ball entirely and this person comes down with it. Something like that. And just to show a better example, what I'm talking about is this receiver caught this ball, he jumped, and he got hit by this defender. Now, this second defender should be able to come up and knock the ball loose. But instead, he just runs into him, right? And then he just goes into a stand-up animation. He doesn't even fall over because he can't interact with this. So this is what I hate about newer Maddens is you make the right play call to have defenders in the area around a good receiver. But if that receiver gets the animation where he only interacts with one defender, he's catching out every time. So if he has the double me X factor, it's going to act like this is the only defender in the area. And that's what sucks to me because it's good for the player on offense, you right? Or defense, depending on, who has the X factor. But it takes away player skill, in my opinion. Getting a good animation isn't skill, man. To me, skill was making the right pass. So in the physics-based Madden, where the ball could get knocked out by this second defender coming up, you're not throwing the ball here. You're not going to throw the ball into this area where there's two people who could potentially hit your receiver. You're going to make a smarter pass. And that's skill to me. And it doesn't have like the placement pass. Well, it does have the placement pass in Madden 18, but it's not as good as like the modern. I will say that. But yeah, this is why I just lean towards the physics-based more. Is it makes your play calling feel like it matters more. If you make a good play to where you have the right defenders in the right spots or the right receiver in the right spots, you're going to get a positive interaction. But anything can still happen because ragdoll physics. But that's what's cool to me is you're not going to see the same animations over and over again. That's what makes Madden get boring is when you see the same interaction because of the same situation playing out the same every time. Or not being able to interact with a situation that you could change the outcome of. But what do y'all think? Do y'all like the animation-based gameplay better? Do y'all like the physics-based gameplay better? I could see liking the animation-based. I find myself coming back to it every once in a while. But that's only because I enjoy the RPG aspect of basically making player builds where I can make an X factor and put certain superstar traits on them. Very video gamey for me. But at the same time, I hate when I can't affect a play because a certain animation is playing. So I lean both ways. What do you guys think? It's your boy Hard Diggity Dog when I'm out. Peace.